experiencing it, for all of the experiencing of insanity. The more that I recognize it in myself and accept it and give up the judgment of it, because the judgment's a part of the insanity, and when I see the judgment happening, I recognize it as insanity, as just more of that, which is judging itself. But the more that I see it and accept it happening in me and give up resistance to the experience, the more compassion I feel for everybody existing, for everybody experiencing this, because it is everybody. The more clearly I see that, the more I notice it in me, the more that I feel it in others, but I feel it in a way that isn't hard and prickly, because it's not from the perspective of the insanity anymore, it's from the perspective of that which is experiencing it. And the more I experience and am aware of my own insanity, the more directly I can experience the insanity of others and recognize it to be the same, and recognize that it's not a problem, it is an experience. It's not a problem any more than the wetness of water is. It is no less natural than such a thing. The way that water is wet, the human mind is insane. That's okay. That's just a property of it. That's the experience of the mind. The way the experience of water is wet, the experience of the mind is insane. And it is actually beautiful because it's not dangerous and it doesn't mean anything. The same way the wetness of water doesn't mean anything and isn't dangerous and isn't permanent. In fact, it is just an experience, and all experience is for us to dip into, for us to play with, for us to paint ourselves in, for the simple joy of that, for the experiencing of that which we are experiencing. And at no point does the experiencing become the experienced. Do you see what I mean? You can experience wetness, but you can't be wet, because that's just not what you are. You are that which is experiencing wetness. And yes, the experience of wetness has bloomed from you, it has grown within you, it is from you, and there is a consciousness in it that is directly experiencing it. But even that, even so, the experiencing does not become the experienced. There is experiencing and there is experienced, and there are layers, and they are nested and nestled within one another, but they cannot be one another. They are both being. The experienced is being, and so again we share this deeper layer, but that which has grown from the layer has differentiated, it has individuated. There is distinction between the experienced and the experiencing. This isn't worth pondering too deeply, I promise. It just becomes a trap that this mind of mine has fallen into again and again, and probably will continue to, and that's okay, because that's the insanity of trying to understand. It seems to me that immersion in the mind, which we might call understanding or comprehension, is immersion in insanity, the same way that immersion in water is immersion in wetness. But the same way that water doesn't make you wet, because as soon as you leave the water, you begin to lose the wetness as the water disappears from you, and then you are not wet at all anymore. The same is true of the mind. As soon as you leave the mind, the insanity of it begins to just sort of drip off of you. You dry off. And then then you return to a state of what could be called sanity. But both of these are just experiences. Even the experience of what would be called sanity or what would be called dryness isn't you. It's not a permanent thing. It is another experience. And the experience isn't you. You are the experiencing. Again, you are inside of all the experience, and the experience is blooming from you, so it's not exactly separate. It is all a continuous field of existing. And there is consciousness in every layer. But this is where the duality forms, and this is the sort of inherent paradox of existence. We are one. It is one existing, one being. And from this one being blooms the many. And the first sort of intrinsic layer that blooms before any other form is this differentiation between experienced and experiencing. And when you are recognizing yourself as the experiencing, as the consciousness experiencing everything, the experience becomes lighter. It becomes smoother. It becomes easier. Not necessarily in the occurrences, in the details of the experience, maybe some of them, but you will still experience what would be called challenges. But in recognizing that they don't mean anything, that they aren't a problem, they don't represent some sort of danger, there's no threat happening, you cannot be destroyed. And actually what appears to be the destruction of form is just the natural sort of passing and then renewal of experience, which itself is a continuous field, a spectrum of increasingly diverse things. It seems apparent by observation that which is being, that life desires diversity of experience, and in fact continuous diversity, increased and constant diversification. And what that kind of looks like and unfolds as is increased complexity, because there are only so many building blocks. There are only 9 numbers plus 0. There are only 7 colors plus the sort of in-between blends, which would be the first level of diversification, increasing in complexity, right? But if we just take the primaries of everything, 9 numbers plus 0, 7 colors, 7 notes, not even including half notes, that sort of thing in between. You know, that's a finite number of building blocks, but the way that we can combine those building blocks is infinite, is literally infinite, because we have the first level of combination, and now our combinations have given us new blocks, essentially. We have blue and we have red, and when we put them together, we create something new that we call purple, that is blue and red. And now we begin to layer these things together, and this is how diversification continues through the increasing complexity. We start creating patterns. The patterns don't mean anything. They are just the natural results of the desire for continuous creation, continuous diversification. It's just what happens when you have only 9 things, when you have only 27 things, when you have only whatever, a number of things to work with, because these are the sort of base things that exist, the first layers of form, then you start getting creative. You combine things in new ways, and then every new combination becomes a pattern in and of itself. Now you can take this pattern and you can add it to another complex pattern, and you've created something entirely new. Built from the same building blocks, but entirely new, never before combined in this fashion. And that's how all of life unfolds. That's how it evolves. It becomes more diverse. It becomes more complex. Because as the experiencing, we desire diversity of experience. And we know it's endless. It's endless. Being is endless. Experiencing is endless. There is not time here. There is the awareness that the rise and fall of form is not the end of experiencing. In fact, there cannot be an end of experiencing. For to experience an end would be experiencing. It is simply not possible for experience to end. Once the light turned on, once the awareness flickered in of, oh, I am, it just doesn't turn off. It can't. The light just spreads. That's just what it does. Life just spreads. Life just continues. And when we are able to recognize, and this is a natural part of the evolution and the diversification of experience, now we have extended into an increased complexity of experience that allows the experience to recognize itself, that allows the experiencing to recognize itself. To say, I am experiencing. We are forever reliving this same realization. Because it's really the only realization. And it really is quite profound and the source of everything. The source of all love, the source of all joy, the source of peace, the source of creation is in this recognition, I am. And the direct experience of what that means, which really just means experiencing. When you are recognizing and you are being, I am. I have to make a turn here. We can do it. You can go, little car. You can go. He didn't go. There he goes. He went. But in the recognition of being the experiencing and not the experience, life unfolds, life blooms, it blossoms, it just... And no experience is seen as wrong at that point. Even the experience of the mind. So here we go, the experience of the insanity of the human mind. The experience of insanity is no longer a problem. It is just another experience, the same way that wetness is, and that wetness is not a problem. And you wouldn't tell water to be less wet, would you? Do you see a problem with the wetness of water? In fact, it seems quite a beautiful thing that's been utilized by the rest of the unfolding of existence. It's quite a fundamental part of physical life on this planet. We wouldn't ask the wetness of water to change, so why would we ask the insanity of the human mind to change? It doesn't need to. It's not wrong. We can witness it, experience it, because that's what all of this is. This is all experience that we are experiencing. It is aesthetic. It's not scientific, it's not industrial, it's not competitive. It doesn't have this overarching goal, the same way that there's no goal in creating and walking through an art exhibit. but to create and to experience. This is an aesthetic experience, all of it, everything. And when every sensation, everything that is coming to you in the present moment, all of experience is viewed this way, there's just a relaxing that happens. Even when we get lost in it, even in the moments that it pulls us in because we panicked again. We panicked and we flailed about, and in the insanity of the human mind, we had ourselves sort of sucked in and we forgot ourselves for a bit. That's okay too. That too is not a problem. That too is just an experience. The experience of being lost in the mind is just experience. And it can feel very scary, but again, fear is just an experience. That doesn't mean anything. It doesn't mean anything's gone wrong. It is just a sensation. And it's okay. It's okay to jump in, to swim, to dive even into insanity. But just like water, we tend to have a more pleasant time when we trust it, when we relax into it, when we're not hyperventilating and straining against it. But that's okay too. All of it is okay. Just more experience, not wrong, not incorrect, not inappropriate. And I think it's just sort of natural that we gradually learn the same way that we acclimate to water, that we acclimate to the experience of insanity. And we start to learn through direct experience, contact with it, that, okay, the more that I just sort of relax, the more that I can just relax into this, the nicer of a time that I have. The more relaxed the overall experience is. My first several times in, I'm splashing about, I'm flailing, I'm panicking. But it helps me to have other people who are saying it's okay, you're okay, and what you're experiencing is okay. And then I learn, little by little, as I expose myself more and more to this, how it works, that my relaxation seems to invite a relaxation of the environment, but that I have to start it. I have to choose to relax, and then things around me seem to relax. And then one day I discover swimming instead of panicked, sort of half drowning. And again, it's not better, it's just different. It's just a different experience, but I'm learning that all experience can be received with relaxation. But even if it's not, that's okay. That's just another sensation. And I see that we're all here just sort of learning how to swim, not because we're swimming anywhere, but because we are adrift in this vast ocean of experience. And that's sort of just what it is. It's not some sort of greater lesson. It's not taking us anywhere. We're not going anywhere. We are just an ocean of experiencing experience. Learning what that's like. Learning that we can have a rather good time with it. Learning that it doesn't matter. That none of it is so serious. That none of it really means anything. That it's okay. That we don't have anything to get right or wrong. That we can choose fear, and that's okay. And we can choose trust, and that's okay too. And we get to just sort of feel our way through what feels like what I want to do in this moment. And there's never a judgment of it. There's never an indictment. There's never a wrong choice. We learn gradually that trust feels better, but we have to choose both. We have to experience both. Because we want to. We wouldn't know that trust felt better than doubt unless we experienced both. But all the while, in all of the vast field of choices and experience that is blooming from us, we are the experiencing. We are the constant. We are the unchanging. There is always experiencing. And in seeing this, we see too the sameness, the oneness of the field of experience. Even in its great diversity, it is always being. So there is always experiencing, which means there is always that which is being experienced. And so there is this sort of relaxation into the flow of things, into the constant stream of happening. Because it will continue happening, and we will continue experiencing. And there's really nothing more to say than that. That is the most relaxing, comforting fact that can be directly observed. And even when we forget it, and we have stepped back into the insanity of the mind, that's not a problem either. That is just more experience. We haven't lost anything. Nothing has really changed. Nothing has really happened. We're free to do that. We're free to step into the insanity of mind and to step back out of it. And eventually we will step back out of it, because like water, it actually takes a great deal of effort to submerge oneself. If you are relaxed in your experience of insanity, the same way that if you are totally relaxed in your experience of a large body of water, you will float. You will float. You won't be lost in it. You can be immersed all the way up to your neck, even around your face, but still seeing clearly. So you can immerse yourself in the insanity and find that you can relax in it, and therefore be so totally in it and yet not lost. The same way you can float in water and be so totally in it and yet not lost. And even if you are kicking and screaming and panicking and you are drowning in this experience, whether it is water or the human mind, eventually you will tire. Eventually you will run out of energy to resist. And in that moment, you will be lifted to the surface. And that too is an experience in and of itself. That is a beautiful, beautiful thing. I just saw a grasshopper make a crazy jump of like 5 feet from a tree to a bush. That was incredible. Anyway, that's all I have to say at the moment. Insanity is not a bad thing, and it is not a thing that we need to fear, even with all the fear that is a part of that experience. We don't need to fear the fear. And in witnessing it in myself, there is a greater feeling of connectivity and just compassion for all who are experiencing this. And I see that it is everyone, universally. So, my love is with you. My eyes are with you. I am there. I am feeling it. Not one of us is alone in this. That's a part of the insanity, is that voice which says, I'm the only one feeling this. I'm the only one who feels alien. I'm the only one who feels guarded inexplicably. I'm the only one who feels like for some reason there is a threat around every corner, even when I tell myself there isn't, even when I see that there isn't. I'm the only one who feels this way. I'm the only one who feels judgment, that every person is judging me. I'm the only person. I'm the only one feeling this. That's the insanity. That is the same voice of the human mind that is in every single person. And in realizing that, we can all smile a little more kindly, a little more knowingly, a little more compassionately at one another. And see and say, nothing is wrong here. Nothing that you feel is wrong. I am with you in this experience, because what we both are is the experiencing. And I see the sameness of that, and I see the sameness of experience, the field which we are interacting with. It's all the same. And we are together, and we are not in competition. So there is nothing to compete for. There is nothing to be gained, and there is nothing to be lost. Everything simply is, including insanity, including wetness. All of it is sensation. All of it is experience. And what a wonderful thing it is to be being on and on and on. I love you. Take it easy.